Instagram takeover. We're happy that y'all are here. All right, something because you can, because you're strong.
All right, I just finished my 5:30 a.m. class with Victoria for cycling, and it was very, very refreshing, and that's why I kind of go cycling early in the morning. I'm gonna head back home, get some breakfast, and then head back to Wayne State for classes and some research, so stay tuned. All right, so now I'm truly ready to start my day. I'm dressed all business professional because I do have a few meetings today. And then I do have my NeuroSci pin, of course. I'll be repping NeuroSci everywhere. And then I'll be heading to my Michigan Spine and Brain Surgeons now to get my badge retaken because it's been a year. And then I'll be heading to Wayne State for a few meetings. Post my calendar. So I just realized I never introduced myself. My name is Noor Ali Sawi. I am a second-year student studying neuroscience and business administration on the pre-med track, and I am also the vice president of NeuroSci, one of the co-founders, and also have the honor of serving as the chair for the Public Relations and Event Coordination Committee, which we're all doing takeovers this week. And now you may ask, why is that? Well, we're doing a countdown for the international panel happening this Saturday at 11 a.m. and that's the time because it's going to be different time zones since we'll have physicians from different countries. In fact, it's going to be 11 a.m. in the United States. However, it's going to be 8:30 p.m. in India, where one of our physicians is coming from New Delhi. So our physicians will be coming from the United States, Kenya, India, and then Lebanon and Turkey and Greece. And they'll talk about what the medicine looks like in each country, how COVID impacts and what the timeline to medicine looks like. For instance, as we all know, in the United States, it takes 8 years to become a physician. However, if you go to the Middle East, it only takes 6 years, and it's completely different, in which medical school and undergraduate is completely combined, and you apply for medical school right after high school. So it'll be very interesting to compare and contrast these differences and learn from each other. In addition to that, we'll also be learning about what the different countries have in terms of healthcare as a whole. For instance, how does health insurance work? Do they have something like that? Probably not, but it's good to learn. Also, we'll learn how the different traditional medicines are in different countries, and learning from other countries will make us not only better prepared for the future, because as we all know, COVID made the world seem so much smaller. So with all that being said, be sure to RSVP in the link in our bio and ask any questions you may have for the panelists to ask live. It's called a medical tour around the globe, happening this Saturday at 11 a.m. And we're honored to be hosting these brilliant physicians, including Dr. Clifford Hausman, who is a neurosurgeon that also was a panelist for a neurosurgery experts panel last semester if you attended. So if you'd like to hear more about him and how neurosurgery works in the United States amidst this pandemic, then be sure to tune in this Saturday. Hi all, so I just came back from the Conti Lab at the VA, and I'll talk more about my research later on, but now I do want to talk about an exciting meeting that I had earlier for the Augmented Reality Project. So I'm part of Stark Lab, in which I'm helping out with 2 projects. One I'm helping out right now, and I'll talk about that in a sec, but another I help out with the Augmented Reality Project. So we use augmented reality to treat phobias through exposure therapy. And when I say augmented reality, think virtual reality, but more like Pokemon, so it's actually out there. And I'm helping with the research development for that, and because of my neuroscience background, but I'm also helping with the business development for my business administration background. And that one is, researchers a lot of time, they have the data, they have everything that proves this treatment is effective. However, when it comes to actually putting it out there and have clinicians and hospitals use it, that's the hard part, and a lot of them stumble upon that. However, but we're lucky at the Stark Lab because we're MTRAC funded, and MTRAC stands for the Michigan Translational and Commercialization Innovation Hub, and they fund projects such as this project where we use technology like augmented reality, artificial intelligence to put it out there and really make clinicians and hospitals use it. So I'm helping with the business development for that, and it's truly exciting because I do want to be involved in medtech in the future in terms of consulting or things like this, where we're commercializing in addition to practicing medicine. And now I'm going to talk about the second project I'm involved in Stark Lab, which is all because of Lana right here. So you all may know Lana because she did do a takeover earlier this month, I believe, and she is a graduate student member at NeuroSci and also holds the position as the representative of the Translational Neuroscience program at the med school in the university. Hi everyone, so this is Lana. She's going to talk about what we're doing today, what we are, just so you have an idea. All right, and now Lana will talk about it.
So today we're indexing our biological data, which is one of the most important steps when you're working with any biological data. You need to know exactly who you have data on and from what time points, especially in a longitudinal study like ours, before you can do any DNA extraction or run any assays. So today we're finding out what kids we have some genomic salivary data on so that we can do epigenetic analyses, which Nora is going to tell you more about.
And Lana's repping NeuroSci right here. Amazing. Okay, so it's time to learn about my second exciting project at Stark Lab. So I'm helping out with a project in which we're studying the methylation of the epigenetics of Syrian and Iraqi refugees coming into the United States. And why are we doing that? Well, we know that the refugees were exposed to war trauma. And when they come to the United States, there's linguistic, cultural, and religious barriers, and we want to study it's longitudinal, so we're going to compare the methylation of their genes right from when they came here, so a month after they came here, within that month, and then we're going to compare the methylation of those genes a year after and 2 years after and see if there were differences in how the settlement here in the United States impacted them. So this is the saliva of the participants in the study. What we're doing today, we're indexing them, also known as we're recording them and making sure that everything is in the Excel sheets as well as in the boxes, as you can see. So we're done for the day now at the clinic here at Wayne State School of Medicine. So that pretty much sums up my day. Now I'm heading home for physics class, physics discussion, a general body meeting for Global Surgery Student Alliance, and then an executive board meeting for NeuroSci. So everything's virtual. That's the beauty of it. I get to go home, get dinner with my family, and then I just kind of study afterwards. So if you have any questions, be sure to drop them right here. I'll get to them. For a question, so I chose neuroscience because it is the perfect combination between hard sciences and philosophy for me. There are many unanswered questions regarding the soul, consciousness, and overall nature of existence at the end of all that hard science that I want to understand. Okay, a little foreshadowing happening. So I posted my calendar earlier, and that's my number one tip. So stay organized, have a calendar, and if something's not on my calendar, then it's just not happening. So I would say really stick to it, plan ahead your day, and you'll be fine. So based on my own experience and the faculty I've seen in NeuroSci, most labs never really went inactive, they just went virtual. And the labs that did stay in person, they have to do in-person activities and have undergraduates on there, then they would most likely need funding to be able to be there. Tip for undergrads for getting research other than joining NeuroSci and getting to know our faculty through that is the good old-fashioned email. It truly works. So look them up on PubMed, Google Scholar, see if the research is something you're interested in because the Wayne websites aren't as updated with their publishings, and then email them if they have room for undergrad. So that was for my traumatic brain injury project I'm doing at the Conti Lab in the VA. I could not videotape that part of my day today because it is on federal property, the Veteran Affairs. So I'm studying the effects of PBM light therapy on traumatic brain injury induced opioid seeking. So to break it down, I am studying how this light therapy, PBM, impacts the brain after it had a traumatic brain injury, so a car accident or you fall down or something like that, and how much opioids you seek out, so how much opioids you want to drink. And how we're testing that is we're going to have two groups, and half of them will receive injury, which means they'll receive traumatic brain injury, and that is basically giving them a cortical impact. So I'll insert a picture right here of a machine that basically just, we give them anesthesia, we have an incision on their head, and then we say what velocity we want it and how far we want it from the brain, and then it kind of hits the brain, and that's the traumatic brain injury they'll receive. Half of them will receive that, half of them will be the control, and will receive everything, including anesthesia and incision, except the actual Once we do that, we're going to wait a month, and then we're going to do a drinking test. We're going to offer them 2 bottles. One of them is going to be morphine, another is going to be just regular sweetened water, and we're going to put some, it's called quinine to make it bitter, just like the morphine. And then we're going to see which one the mice would prefer to drink. So hypothesis is that the one with the traumatic brain injury would prefer to drink the morphine because it helps with pain relief. And then the one without it will just drink the sweetened water because why would they need the morphine? Once we have that, then we're going to do the light therapy on all of them. And then after we do the light therapy for a few days, we're going to do the drinking test again. And based on that, our hypothesis number 2 is that now the TBI mice would not prefer to drink the morphine as much as they were, because the PBM light therapy would give them that anti-inflammation and reduce their oxidative stress and give them those pain relieving mechanisms they were receiving from the morphine, so they would drink less morphine. And if everything works out, the data should suggest that PBM is an effective alternative to treatment to opioids, and people don't have to go through all the horrible side effects like the addiction properties and worsening the pain than it was in the beginning after taking the opioids to have pain relief. And honestly, I got into this research because of my job. I've seen that the neurosurgeons, after a literal neurosurgery for their patients, still have to go through 3 or 4 security measurements to prescribe 1 pill of oxycodone or Norco because they're controlled substances or opioids. So that speaks volumes of how harmful they are to people, and I'm lucky to be actively researching an alternative method for that. Alright, so it's 10 p.m. My night is officially over, and I'm going to log off now and do homework for the rest of the night. So if there's one thing I hope you all learn from this, is to get involved in research. It puts everything you learn in classes simultaneously in perspective. It shows you why these all these conceptual learning outcomes are important and how they can be applied in real life. And it really makes you more attentive in these classes. Other than that, if there's one thing I learned from this vlogging day, is that vlogging is nowhere in the near future for me, because this takes time and effort. Props to all YouTubers and vloggers out there, because I have the utmost respect for you. And other than that, if you have any questions or just are wondering about research or neuroscience, neurosci, shoot me an email right here or shoot me a DM on my Instagram. Other than that, have a great day, join neurosci, and then I'll see you this Saturday at 11 a.m.